Hi, I'm Lisa Lacroix, and I work with individuals, entrepreneurs, executives, and anyone who wants to connect more powerfully, both with how they speak and how they relate using their bodies and all the tools available to them as human beings. On this channel, you will primarily find two kinds of content: videos like this one on intimacy and connection, sexuality, sensuality, relationship, and others focused on speaking skills and communication tools. If you're looking for those videos, you can find them in the playlist I'm pointing to right here. Otherwise, stay with me today. We're going to dive into something that is, to be honest, breaking my heart just a little. Recently, two different conversations collided in my world. The first one was a post by my friend Max Trombly, who has been a guest on the channel. I'll post the video here. He is a men's coach extraordinaire. If you are not following him on Instagram, you should do so immediately. And the video was about how much pain men carry and how deeply they need love. He named things we don't often talk about related to men, like the feelings of being abandoned and shame, heartbreak, even self-loathing. And he said, actually, you know what? Let me just play the video for you here.
If women could see the amount of pain that men hold, like all of them, women would have a lot more empathy for the masculine. As a men's work facilitator, I spend a lot of time with men, processing deep emotions, deep pain, deep anguish, early life abandonment, deep resentments toward father, mother, ex-wives, ex-girlfriends, self-loathing. And when you really get to peel back the onion and see what's within men, my God, the empathy, the understanding, men hold a lot. And they really deserve a lot more care than we culturally want to give them. Men matter, and they're sensitive, and they need love.
So as you heard, the main message was if women could see how much men are hurting, they would feel more compassion. But in response to that video, there was comment after comment after comment. Women saying things like, well, when they hurt you over and over again, it's hard to continue. Or I just keep giving and now I feel broken. I'm sorry, but my guard is up now. Or it's hard to keep on trying. And our empathy for their pain has gotten some of us killed and others emotionally broken. So these weren't women who lack empathy. These were women who felt they had tried, who felt hurt, who had opened and given, and now whose hearts were tired. And the saddest thing is that their pain, the pain they experienced as a result of all the ways that they tried, made it impossible for them to hear Max's point. And I felt so sad seeing firsthand and reading how unable so many women were to separate their own pain from the empathy that they might have had or the compassion they could have felt for all the ways men are in pain. And then the second event, the corollary event. I posted something on Facebook. It was a simple question I'd been thinking about around cultural differences related to men approaching women. Because when I was in Europe earlier this month, I had noticed that men seemed much more willing to compliment and to approach women than I ever, well, maybe not ever, but then I've recently experienced in the US. So I was wondering, are European men more inclined to initiate contact with women, or is there a cultural difference, especially in relationship to women aging? I had other curiosities and some theories. Mostly, I wanted to know what other people thought. And many of the responses were super thoughtful. They brought a lot of nuance and women reflecting on their personal experience of the male gaze, as well as positives and negatives of feeling more or less invisible as women, also various cultural concepts around beauty and the impact of various stages of life on the experience of men and women interacting in public. There was also some comments that addressed the various cultural concepts around beauty and the stages of life, as well as, and this is really interesting, on both sides, from men and from women, the fear of sexual harassment as experience, either the experience of it or being perceived as a persecutor. There was the impact that potential danger might play in this experience, and someone shared something of feminist history, which was really interesting. Mostly, this post and the responses to it raised important and complex and nuanced thoughts and experiences that probably I could turn into 10 more Facebook posts and 10 more YouTube videos. But here's the part that really broke my heart. It was the few, granted only a few men, but very intense comments that were filled with anger and resentment and pain. It was only 2 men who posted comments like this, but I know the pain they were speaking of lies in so many more men. They said things like, well, you made this bed, now you've got to lie in it alone. Or whole math on YouTube will explain it to you. Or a decade of portraying masculinity as toxic finally pays off. And decades of anti-male messaging, and you're surprised. So very sardonic and simply pained responses. And I honestly felt heartbroken for these men who'd obviously suffered so much. They had only vitriol towards women. And of course, the pain and the heartbreak for us as a collective that we've come to that. And there's so much misunderstanding, so much self-protection on both sides of this equation, that compassion and understanding are deeply buried underneath all that pain and all that bitterness, underneath the sarcasm, underneath the bite. I imagined how abandoned and how misunderstood and how unwanted those 2 men and men like them must feel. And so what I'm left with now is what I see in these events as the 2 sides of the same wound. And the wound is that we want connection so badly, but we don't trust each other, that we hurt each other over and over again, and then we blame each other. And so I keep thinking, this isn't working. I want to be part of a different story between the masculine and the feminine, how we see and understand and experience each other. So I want to keep on asking questions, real questions. I want to keep on doing my best to listen, which, to be fair, for all of us isn't always easy because, as the saying goes, hurt people hurt people. So it's easy for us as sensitive human beings to fall into that cycle. But I want to keep on naming what's underneath all that and keep on searching for it. And I want to keep on trying. I want to build more connection, more communication skills, and to help others do the same so we can stop missing each other. Because I think we are all tired of that. And I think there's another way. I think there are better ways. And so I'm curious to know what you see and what thoughts do you have? Because I'm here for the conversation. And as always, I thank you so much for being here, for listening this far. And if this conversation, if this topic resonates, please hit like, hit subscribe, share it with people who might need to hear it. And in the meantime, here's another video YouTube thinks you'll like. And here is the link to the Intimate Connection series. So thank you for being here, and I will see you next time.